The Rolex Pepsi is discontinued.
How legit do you think are these rumors?
Rolex, so I got the info from like 3 Rolex employees who work at different ADs. My friend just told me, hey Kai, in the last delivery we got like 42 sub-no dates within one delivery. And
That is a very good statement. Will the Rolex Pepsi be discontinued? Well, today we are going to try and answer the question. So we have received, or I have received, and I'm sure you do have too, lots and lots of questions in the past couple of weeks and months about the Rolex Pepsi, and is it going to be discontinued? Did they stop making it? What is happening at ADs? When will I get one? Because we know lots of people are still on the wait lists to hopefully receive their Rolex Pepsis. And today we have collected your questions, and I have my husband and fellow watch YouTuber Kai here today. Hello.
Hi.
Who is super knowledgeable about all of the AD stuff. And we are going to ask you some questions today and answer yours in the meantime. And we're going to start right away, I would say.
Okay, let's go. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Let's just start out with what the rumors actually are. What is going on? What are people saying?
So basically, it kind of started like a few months ago, and it got more and more over the weeks and months. And I do an Instagram Q&A every single day, and I get like some days it's 50 questions, some days it's 100 or 150 or something, and every day I get this question multiple times. Kai, what do you think about the rumors that the Rolex Pepsi is discontinued? Or
same here.
Yes,
it's like, Jenni, what's
time.
going on with the Pepsi? Basically, that's the thing. Or is anything more specific?
Yes, a lot of times, and I think we will get to this later. A lot of times it's questions like, my Rolex AD told me that the Pepsi is very likely to be discontinued, or they only got 2 this year so far. And what do you think about it? And to be honest, I answer the question every other day, I would say. So every second or third day.
Yeah.
But still, the question remains oncoming, and
people want to know.
People
right?
want to know, and every day there are kind of new people, maybe who get told something by their ADs, and they want to know it, and that's why I think it makes sense that we really put order into the topic, answer the question as good based on facts as we can, of course, and then so the people are able to make their own thoughts and make their own conclusions.
Own decisions, especially, I guess. Because that's the real thing. Like, what I think for a lot of people, it's the question, what I'm going to do now and everything. So let's maybe start from this way. So now that we know what's being said, what's being asked, because I get that question a lot as well. It's like, what's happening, Jenni? Is it being discontinued? How legit do you think are these rumors even? Because we know sometimes the Rolex rumor train, when it starts and it keeps on running and people just add to it and be like, oh my God, they love to catastrophize things.
Sure.
So would you say these are legit?
I would say, so in the past years, there were always rumors. And if you just
tell me about it,
take the facts, so just the numbers, or the stats if you want so, then most of the time it's like, I would guess 90% of rumors which float around half a year or more, or even months or more before the Watches and Wonders, earlier Basel World, are just rumors. It's just people making assumptions. Right.
I mean, we've had that with discontinuation Rolex a lot. I mean, people keep on telling everyone
the Air King.
What's with the Air King?
When will they finally discontinue the Air King?
Milgauss.
Thank God they did that.
Boy, oh boy. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like the closer you get to the bigger events, the more you could say that things are getting a bit more legit.
Yes, more legit. I think this year it's especially close. Far away from Watches and Wonders, because these rumors started like
would you say?
In May.
That's pretty early.
So super early, but I think I got an explanation for that.
Oof.
Yes.
Do you want to share it now?
Yes, I think it has we will dive into that a little later. But I think it has to do with the demand for Rolex watches declining.
Okay.
And that, I think it fits very well. Also, to answer the question, how legit are those rumors?
Yeah.
There is something true in the rumor of Pepsi's being not delivered as often as before, so as last year.
Okay, so there is some fire where there's smoke.
There is some fire. There's more like smoke where there's smoke.
I get it. By the way, disclaimer, we have not talked about these questions yet. So everything you are telling me right now,
Yes.
we are discussing this for the very first time, which I'm very excited about. Everyone, future Jenni here. Before we continue with some more questions from you guys, I want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, CHRONEXT. CHRONEXT is not only one of the biggest pre-owned watch dealers with hundreds of different watches and offers online, but they've also been a supporter of this channel for over a year now, which I'm very thankful for. They gave me a special promo code for my viewers, so when buying a watch at chronext.com, make sure to use my code Jenni with an I to get an extra discount. I myself bought my Yacht Master 37 from them. Now I like to call it the White Walker. I'm super happy with it. They have in-house watchmakers who check every watch that is coming in and going out, so you do not have to worry about authenticity at all. They ship out watches to almost every corner of the world, but you can also use their worldwide pickup lounges if you want to. So make sure to use my code Jenni with an I on your next purchase from CHRONEXT to save money on your next watch. And now that we've got that covered, let's get back to your questions. So I guess if we're now talking about watches being delivered or not delivered this year, how do even, because I know a lot of people are unaware of how the whole Rolex watch distribution system works. How do they even, as a Rolex AD, how do they get their watches? How do they know what's going on? Do they even know what's going on?
Do they even know?
Maybe let's just explain real quick how Rolex watch ADs get their watches in the first place. What's like the simple step by step?
Okay,
maybe.
So first of all, I think it's very important that also on this topic there are a lot of rumors. Some of them, I think some of them are willingly spread by Rolex ADs to keep the demand high, to be honest.
Okay, so a bit of like a white light and be like,
Yes.
it's a hot piece.
Yes. And some of them are also, I think, because employees of Rolex ADs don't know better.
So just human error.
Yeah, human error, or it's just like they tell you, I don't know how many what Rolex watches we get,
and it's the truth because they actually
it's
don't
the
know.
truth because they actually don't know, but their chef knows.
The boss probably does know what's going on.
That's a really big one. Like, we don't know what we get. We have no idea what we get. And this one makes me like a little bit seriously.
You feel it's like a funny thing to say if you know better, because that was the initial question, like how do they get their watches? So they do know how many they will receive.
I mean,
is what you're saying.
You got to turn it around and think about Rolex dealers. Of course, they have to pay money to Rolex for the watches.
They do buy them from Rolex directly.
Exactly. And does anyone really or consider the thought that Rolex just sent out random watches?
I mean,
and you have to pay for them. So here's 10 Pearl Masters.
Like, fuck. Great, they've been discontinued, but thanks, I guess.
That's not exactly how it works. There's, of course, you have to think of Rolex as a company, of course.
True.
And I mean, for example, we produce watch rolls and stickers and stuff. And we know...
Buy them, they're amazing.
Yes. And we know that even for us, and we do that in really small quantities compared to Rolex, who sells like 1.2 million watches last year, according to a Morgan Stanley report, which is very, very interesting. We can maybe link it in the description below. And what Rolex tries to do, first of all, is they want to match demand as good as they can. So they have to make educated guesses on how many Pepsis, Submariners in gold, in
So you're
steel.
now talking about the manufacturing.
Yes, the manufacturing.
Amount. Okay.
They have to make educated guesses on how much can we sell. And they do that pretty well. And what they then do is they tell their Rolex dealers every 3 months, approximately every 3 months, Rolex dealers get master codes. Master codes are kind of like references. So for example, they get master codes for how many watches they can order of specific references.
So like I get 10 master codes for a date just like that?
For example, it's based on reference. So for example, we have the...
Oh, like a specific reference number?
Yes, no date sub. Or let's take the Pepsi. Let's take the Pepsi. 126710 BLRO. And they get the info from Rolex. Okay, from this, you can order this. The next 3 months, you can order, for example, 6 watches.
6, right.
You can order 6.
It's like the maximum of 6, but you're free to...
You can also order 4.
Who would do
and
that?
you can, for example, maybe they can order 3 full gold Submariners, but they order 0 because they know
it's not selling that well.
They have no wait list for that watch, and why should they? And instead, maybe they have for the full gold root beer, and they order that instead.
Okay. So they have like a budget, and they
have a fixed budget.
The ADs will probably set something aside to be like, okay, we'll receive the master codes, and then we will...
I think, I'm not 100% sure for that one, but I think they have fixed amounts of volumes what they order for the year.
Oh, okay.
In Swiss francs or euros or
so
whatever.
So Rolex knows what they will receive from
Of course, they
ADs.
want to plan their revenue.
Sure, makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
Exactly.
And then they just like shift around within this budget. Okay, so we've got that money allocated for this like quarter of the year.
So this quarter of the year, we spent like, let's say, 3 million.
Yes,
and these are the watches we can order. And Rolex sends a list of watches like Pepsi, 3 pieces. The AD can more or less freely decide for the bracelet and for the dial color for the watches where are different dials, because these are not like binded to the master codes. It's only on reference.
Only on reference. Okay, so that would also mean, so now that we know how they will receive their watches, that you said approximately like every 3 months roughly.
Yes.
So that would mean that every 3 months cards are being, like new cards are being dealt, and then you can like ask again. Is that a thing?
Kind of. It's more like they can, for example, for the Pepsi.
Yeah.
I have not spoken to every single Rolex AD. I have spoken to no Rolex AD. I only speak to some of the employees. I have like maybe 10 or 15 friends who work at different Rolex ADs. They share with me every info they have, and some of them are higher in the hierarchy, so they know a lot more. For example, about these master codes and stuff, I get my information. Your Rolex AD knows exactly what he will get in the following 3 months, and the numbers don't swing too much. So, for example, Pepsi's, the ADs I talk to per store, they get roughly around like 15 to 30 Pepsis a year.
Okay.
So the smaller ADs get less watches, the bigger get more watches. And of course, if an AD can sell more, for example, watches, they tend to get more of them.
Makes sense. They get more stock because they sell more.
Of course, Rolex, in the end of the day, they want to make money. And so I have a friend. He works in a Rolex AD. And for example, full gold root beer, they get like 3 to 5 a year, but they got 20 because they got such a high demand on this watch, and that's why they got 20 watches of them, he told me, because in the year, because they could sell so much of them, and Rolex decides to, okay, then this dealer, if they have such a high demand, then they get more of this. They try, of course, to make it fit.
They allocate the specific model. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Of course.
It sounds quite flexible. Would you say Rolex is very flexible in that regard, or is that...
I would say they are very, very good in planning, and they are flexible from quarter to quarter, more or less.
Okay, well, that's nice.
But not too flexible. The numbers stay roughly the same. So, for example, even if we like go back to I got 3 Pepsis this year, it's impossible. It's impossible.
Wait, you mean that some AD would say,
only 3 Pepsis?
That's bullshit.
Kind of impossible, yes.
Is it though?
Is it? It is.
But if you say that some stores will sell more of a specific watch, like a root beer or whatever, wouldn't you say that it's also possible that some stores are just very in low demand of Pepsis because their customers in that area are just not big fans of Pepsis?
No.
Well, okay then.
No, for the Pepsi and for the Daytona, for example, and steel, the demand is always so high that every Rolex AD will order as much Pepsis and
They just
Daytonas
sell like hotcakes.
as they can, because these are the last model with maybe the Batman is bright. Sub-date is pretty close to the retail price, so demand starts to go down.
Oh, you mean, okay, I get it. Oof,
So for these remaining models where price on the market, on the gray market and retail price is very far apart, these models, they order as much as they can.
Because they know people are still going to crave
And Rolex will deliver them as much as they can, because they earn a lot of money by fulfilling the demand to that point that it's still higher demand than...
Oh, right. So they are trying not to like shift the balance to
Yes.
be like completely oversaturated.
Exactly.
So, okay, now that we've got that covered, what do you think, how many, because you've teased that in the beginning, that it's about the Rolex demand and being delivered, like the watches to stores. What would you say, how many Pepsis are currently being shipped out to ADs? Is it more, is it less? Is it the same as like 2 years ago?
From what I know, it's less in the last like 6 months. Rolex, so
Significantly less?
50% less.
That is significant.
That is significant. Rolex, so I got the info from like 3 Rolex employees who work at different ADs, and they told me, hey, our Rolex sales employee, so the guy from Rolex, he visits the ADs every few weeks or months, and they told us, hey, we have difficulties in producing the bezel.
Didn't we? We've heard that story
We've
before.
heard that before.
We?
Yes, and that's why the why production at the moment is a bit lower than normal. And what I've been told by these 3 people who work at different ADs is they get the same amount in steel GMTs, but they get less Pepsis and more Batmans. That's what they told me.
Less blue and red, more black and blue.
Exactly. So here, for example, he told me last year they got like 25 Pepsis and 30 Batmans per store. And this year it's more like 15 Batmans and 40 Pepsis or something like that. The other way around. So 15 Pepsis, 40 Batmans.
And you said that allegedly,
yes,
a Rolex representative was telling each of them like, hey, listen, I know you want the Pepsis, but we've got some issues at the factory because of the bezel. So
kind of just letting them know that is what
it's like a production issue.
Yes, that's what I heard from from Rolex. If you got infos about Rolex, it's always around like 2 or 3 corners, because Rolex does not say anything to someone like us.
I mean, yeah.
And they
but
even...
why though? You can share that with us.
Share that with us, Rolex, please. We will not share it with our followers.
I mean, just tell us something nice and then we can... No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah, not really kidding. My email address will be in the description box down below. But yeah, so what is ultimately the story though that's not what they tell the employees to customers, is it?
I think...
Because you get a lot of people being like, hey, what's with the Pepsi? So there's some stuff like trickling down, ouchie, and getting out to people.
Yes.
But is that the story that you're now sharing with us, that these AD employees are telling you, is that something that they are also telling other customers?
I think if some official information goes out from Rolex, it's never coincidence. So there's 2 possibilities. Number 1, Rolex has difficulties in manufacturing Pepsi bezels.
That would be so boring.
Number 2, Rolex is telling their ADs that there is difficulties in producing Pepsi bezels, and it's not true. That's the 2 possibilities. I don't want to claim one or the other.
Right. Oh, sorry.
But one question that tickles me a lot is, how can it be that Rolex has the production difficulties so often? So, oh my God, they have difficulties with the titanium of the new Yachtmaster.
It's like someone has mixed like a wrong color of the red, and it's like, oh boy, that's the wrong red.
If you take every rumor about Rolex production issues, then Rolex is really a shit company.
It's like they don't know what they're doing.
Yes.
It's like we've got an apprentice, like an intern, who is like trying to do the...
He fell into the Pepsi red basket
Yes,
and now it can't be produced.
It's all messed up again.
So yes, it's kind of, I don't know if whether Rolex has production difficulties with the Pepsi. It's possible, of course.
Of course.
One thing I know, for the Tiffany Blue Oyster Perpetual.
Back in the day.
Yes, there was a situation actually. So what happened is they overestimated demand for the other colors and they underestimated demand for the Tiffany Blue color.
Can I just very quickly say how nearsighted that was? That was so obvious that people are going to lust after the Tiffany Blue. It's not officially called the Tiffany Blue.
Back then,
I would say so.
They were the first who introduced, not the first, but this was the first Tiffany hype.
But like
Patek and stuff came later.
The color itself was already something
Something
super special
special
within the like jewelry accessory world. So
sure. I think
that's
take our roles. We thought, for example, this one would sell the best, and we thought the black one would sell almost exactly the same, but worse. And what happened is the black one was sold out after 2 minutes.
It was so popular.
And this one was available 1 week later.
Right.
And was so
fair enough. Even the best people can make mistakes.
Yes, kind of. That's what I wanted to say.
No,
so what happened back then is for the production lines from Rolex.
Yeah.
It takes like a longer time to change the production line. So you have to think Rolex has like X different production lines, and they don't have a production line for every single reference and dial and stuff.
That would be too much.
So they have to change the production lines. That's why
switch the machines and everything.
That's why, for example, maybe you noticed it, your Rolex AD has a specific watch, let's say a Day 36 with the green ombre dial. They don't have it for like 1 year. And then suddenly they have it, and every other AD in the area has it too.
Because they just
manufactured them and pushed them out to the market.
Okay, makes sense.
And with the Tiffany, it was like this. They produced a certain amount, then they changed production lines, is what I got told, from a very high tier Rolex AD
so
employee.
It was ready to like be shipped out?
Yes, and they were shipped out. And then what happened is the Tiffany Blue dial was like really sold out. Not sold out at the AD, but sold out at Rolex, for example, Rolex Köln in Germany. They delivered to the German ADs. And also what I got told in the headquarters. So they literally had no watches available.
In that dial color.
And then they discontinued it because they could not deliver more watches within like 1 year or so.
And so they were like, before disappointing them, we're just gonna like...
No, I think it's more like maybe they tried to shift the demand from the Tiffany to the other dials because they were in stock. And
makes sense.
To like destroy the hope that they wait for the Tiffany, they said like, no, we discontinue it and
so
then
go buy a different color.
So kind of like that. Yes.
I get it. So that will ultimately, when we now talk about discontinuations of the Tiffany Blue OP, do you think they are trying to like die out the Pepsi to discontinue it? Is it the rumor that it's going to, because it's being delivered less, are they trying to like phase it out and phase out because if you say that your source at an AD has told you that there being more Batmans delivered than Pepsis, are they trying to shift the interest towards the Batman and, phase out the Pepsi and then be like, it's gone, goodbye?
Maybe
is that now a thing?
Maybe they do that, and maybe they have production difficulties with the Pepsi. I think the important thing is that no one can tell. Really, no one can tell, because the time at which we have like reliable info on that is like 1 week ahead of when it happens. So yes.
Would you say that just came into my mind? Now we've got October. Would you say this is something that we will know for sure this year? Or is that something they will maybe discontinue when they announce a new watches once? I mean, we know that Rolex has not been keeping to the schedule of only releasing at one point per year. They've been releasing only since when did they start doing that?
Last year.
That
the
they
deep sea
started
challenge.
to release watches outside of bigger events or watch fairs. So when would you say, just like your gut feeling, when do you think will we know for sure what's going to happen, if even something is happening?
As soon as it happens, to be honest. And also, I don't think that they will discontinue the Pepsi if they don't have like real production issues, because the Pepsi, I imagine the Pepsi is one of the watches which is produced all the year round, because it's like the most demanded watch from Rolex.
Wouldn't you say it's the Submariner, like a sub date?
I think they're on the same level.
Same,
yes,
like a sub date, sub no date.
I think these are
Pepsis.
watches that are produced like the year round.
The standard model.
Sorry?
Like the standard, like your basic Rolex model.
Exactly. For example, white gold Daytona Oysterflex is not produced the whole year, I would guess. That's why they are also pretty rare. So yes, I would say Pepsi is one of the watches which are produced the year round. And I think if there were really, really big issues with the bezel, then the production, the stock would maybe be empty already in 6 months. So,
or you think it would have already just stopped being delivered instead of?
Yes. What I think, but it's only my opinion, is that maybe they try to protect these few high demand watches from going below list price or RRP.
Okay.
And that's
just like your
just my opinion. But what I think is, okay, Pepsi, Daytona, these are the watches that were hot for a long time, and maybe they just try to protect them, or they have real difficulties. But one thing is for sure, I would say like 99% that no single Rolex store in Europe at least, or in this area, gets only 3 Pepsis or 4 a year. And still, Rolex employees tell that to customers.
Just to keep, like you said, in your opinion, to the demand high, to protect the last few, very dramatic, the last few watches that are still significantly above retail. Is that
Let me tell you a story. It's a lot of gossip.
I love that. You know, I love me some gossip. Do spill the tea, please.
Okay, so like...
Love that.
2 stories.
Oh, Jesus.
First story is like a follower of mine. He was at a Rolex AD and he was interested in a sub-no date. And I know...
in Europe? Or?
In Germany.
Germany,
And
okay.
I know the Rolex AD, so I know a guy who works there.
So you know both sides.
I know both sides. Oh. And he was like, oh my God. He told me the sub-no date is so low in deliveries at the moment, and they get like no sub-no dates, and the waiting time will be like 3 or 5 years. and
That's mean.
I know, maybe they don't know better. We will come to that point in a bit. And then my friend just told me, hey Kai, in the last delivery we got like, I don't know the number anymore, but we got like 42 sub-no dates within one delivery, and they get a so
Jesus Christ.
Yes, what I told, they have like 3 months.
Yeah.
And what is true is they don't know exactly when they get what, but they know what they get in 3 months, and they get a delivery like every 2 to 3 weeks. So the delivery over the 3 month span is fulfilled within every 2 to 3 weeks.
Makes sense.
And in one of those every 2 to 3 weeks deliveries, where
like a boatload
like 40 or 38 sub-no dates.
Imagine being the AD and then just unpacking the box.
Yes,
and, be like,
and it was full of sub dates,
God damn
basically.
it.
Exactly. And then he was telling me like, lol, so we're pushing these sub-no dates out like crazy now. Basically, you just have to buy anything like a ring for 500 euros for your wife and you will get a sub-no date.
You get a sub date. You get a sub.
They're only looking for a reason to treat you with that high demand watch.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Being like, oh, I know, I'm like calling you a day later and being like, I know I said 3 years, but
you're so lucky. So you're so lucky, and you bought a ring 2 weeks ago, and
Perfect.
that's why I put in all my things. And in the back, they're like, oh my God, we got so many sub-no dates.
Which, by the way, can I just say, I know that a lot of people are being very upset about this, but there's this very fine balance of, let me put it this way. I like when I feel that what I buy is something nice and
high in
special
demand.
and high in demand.
Of
so
course.
if the salesperson, no matter if it's a watch or a piece of jewelry or a bag or whatever, we're talking about luxury items here, guys. So don't get your feathers ruffled. It's still something unnecessary, not vital. We're talking about this. I think it's okay to be a bit, to act a bit more special about it than it actually is.
Sure.
I remember when I was buying my diaper bag, the lady...
Mom stories.
Mom stuff. Welcome to Jenni's Mouth Corner. Real quick. When I was buying, it was a special diaper bag and it was sold out online. And I was calling up different stores and be like, hey, do you got this diaper bag? I really want it. And they were like, oh my God, everybody wants this diaper bag right now. It's so special. But I can put you on the list. And I was like, oh, I know about the list stuff, lady. Don't tell me this.
But put me on the list.
But put me on the list. And I was being put on the list for a diaper bag. And to be fair, I was hunting the internet like a crazy person, found it online, and I bought it from some other country. But I got the call and be like, oh, hello, Frau Leingang. Your diaper bag is now available. I'm like, I already got it, but thank you so much. And it made me still feel so special about the diaper bag weeks later.
You still love it.
I still love it so much. Because that feeling remained of it being very special. It's psychology. We're just weak humans.
It's okay.
So
I think it's completely okay to say things like, we have high demand, we have to waitlist you.
It's not wrong.
That's okay. What I think when it slips is, first of all, if employees of Rolex ADs get rude.
Oh, definitely.
And if they start to dump fold you.
Yeah. If they're trying to pressure you, just making a fool of yourself.
Yes.
Of you by just bullshitting you.
Yes.
Through buying this. So I guess. So that was your first story.
That was my first story. So
What's the
two sides
one?
of the second one is a lot of followers write me like, hey Kai, my Rolex AD says he gets no Pepsis or he didn't see a single Pepsi this year.
They share with you what AD
they got
employees
told,
are telling you.
But also an employee of a Rolex AD told me, hey, we really got very few Pepsis.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw 2 or 3 this year. And then the same source that told me that with the sub-no dates, because he's a little higher in hierarchy, so he knows what they get. He was telling me that his chef,
his boss,
has a private safe. It's not private, but it's a safe where only a few key people have access to.
Okay.
In this safe, you will find a few Patek Philippe Nautilus.
Special safe he keeps in the store.
Exactly.
To keep away certain watches that he wants.
Exactly. It's for the very, very hot pieces. For example, for Patek Philippe, most of the time, for every in-demand Patek Philippe, so that's Aquanaut and Nautilus.
I want that.
Mostly, exactly. The chef, so the owner or the chef of the AD will be included in the decision if you get it. So if you get an Aquanaut,
it makes sense.
Because
it's such a high demand, expensive Patek Philippe piece,
he has
to be
his hand
involved
over
in the
it.
decision.
Of course. So it's impossible, for example, for Nautilus. If your best friend works at a Rolex AD, it's still impossible that he can guarantee you that you get one, because he will have to ask the chef, and the chef is really, if he has a bad day and he doesn't like how you look, then he says no, and the next time he asks, he say no, I told you no, this one will not get. So it's really not under your control.
Okay, get it.
And in this safe are these watches.
The special safe. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and in this safe also he got access to it, or he saw what's inside.
Okay.
And there was a box, and he opened it, and inside were 40 Pepsis or something. So really a lot of Pepsis.
So does that mean, so I've got 2 questions. Does it mean that he thinks they're being discontinued and he's stowing them away for the hard times, or are they not being discontinued and he's putting them away just simply because they're being delivered less and he wants a special treat for customers?
The first important thing is to answer that question is that you can assume that the owner of the Rolex ADs...
He knows something?
Sorry?
Does he know something that we don't?
Maybe he does.
Probably does.
I don't know. I posed the same question And the answer from my friend was like, I think he thinks it's going to be discontinued eventually. Not now, eventually.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah, you can say that about most watches.
Yes. But what you have to assume is that your Rolex AD, the Rolex deliveries, I think they are for the chefs. So what the chefs or the owners are most of the time included in the Rolex deliveries.
Yeah.
That means, and also you can assume that in bigger stores, that most of the employees who work in the store,
on the sales floor,
they are not included in this process. So they have really no idea what watches are delivered by Rolex. And you can also assume that if the delivery comes,
it filters through from like the top down.
Yes.
And they will be told what they need to be told, what they've got available. And then even if they say something like, oh, we only got
3
this
Pepsis,
amount,
then it's true for them.
It's true for them, exactly.
They saw like 3 Pepsis, but the rest is maybe stored away. And the chef, like, he gets the delivery, he puts his stuff out, and then he makes a like meeting with the top 3 salespeople who are in control
like
of sales. Yes, and then they tell like that's what we have to like distribute to our customers. But maybe there's already a part missing.
Okay, I see.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, those were great stories. Thank you so much for sharing them. I think this covers it for now because, like you said, there's only so much that we know that is out there and being shared with you, with us. It's interesting now to see that it has trickled down and so many people are already asking us like, hey, what's going on? And probably other people as well. And yeah, like you said, it's difficult to say when, but now we know how they're being, like the watches being distributed to ADs, how they know what they will receive. And yeah, ultimately this is a very interesting thing, and I'm excited to see how it will like plan out.
We will see.
We will see. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you for having me.
Little stories from behind the scenes. We love to gossip sometimes, only in good faith.
I love Rolex gossip. If some of you works at a Rolex AD and has more infos, tell me. I will not leak the source, but I will.
Yeah, if you agree, we will anonymously share your details.
Yes.
Not details, but
we can't get enough of this, and I love these like insights and see both sides.
Me too.
So interesting.
That's also why I really love the Baselworld, no longer Baselworld, the Watches and Wonders rumors and stuff. It's just it's so much fun.
It's just fun. Maybe we should address the question from the beginning. Will it be discontinued?
Will it be discontinued?
It's really important to know. No one knows, as I said, but it's important to see both sides of the coin, because why I think this video is important is a lot of people, they believe anything that everyone says. And that's also, don't believe anything I say, because I get the infos also from like 2 corners away from Rolex. So this could be wrong, but think about the possibilities and don't like believe the first thing anyone tells you.
Fact check things for yourself.
Just
basically.
Research, watch our video, watch other videos, ask your Rolex AD, ask other people, and then get your info straight, and don't panic about discontinuations or something. Because one thing I learned, if something gets discontinued, most of the time we didn't see it coming.
That is a very good statement to end this, I think. That really sums it up. You said it so well.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, wifey. I love you too.
Pretty much every time we did not see it coming, but it is still so much fun speculating about it.
Enjoy, speculate, but don't lose the fun in the hobby.
Exactly. So that leaves me to thank you all so much for watching this video today. Thank you so much for being here. Let us know in the comments down below what you think, maybe what you have heard. Share it down below so we can just have a little discussion, a friendly one. Be nice, everybody. And yeah, let us know what you think. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you understand or want to learn German, make sure to follow this guy on YouTube.
Streichholzschachtel.
Zeitzonen-Synchronisationsmechanismus. Exactly. Lots of nice German watchmaking terms that you can hear from this one. I will link his channel in the description box down below, and everything else that we've talked about today. And that is all we have for you guys. Again, thank you so much, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more watch content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.
Bye.